Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host and the noob. My name's Caliban, and I was trained by mountain ninjas.
Hey, me too. Small world. We're a couple of magical people ready to moon cosmic power make up this episode. Today we are talking about episode number 105, Powa ga Hoshi. Mako-chan no Mayoi Michi in Japanese. I want power. Mako lost in doubt. The English translation and the English title, People Who Need People.
We got power.
Yeah.
Go Haji. No. Yeah. Throw us a bit of a curveball by throwing a straight pitch. Sometimes you go right down the plate and the batter's not looking.
Yeah.
And it's just like real, just a fat steak of a fastball.
Uh-huh.
But nope, he's expecting something else.
But that's
the chess game.
Yes.
That the pitcher and the catcher play with the batter.
That is true.
And the batting coach, I guess.
But I don't understand
the
people who need people. I know it's probably a reference to the Barbra Streisand song, but why?
Because it's about, well, you're giving the whole show away. But
okay.
It is about not, you know what? No, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay, we'll put a pin in it.
I refuse. Like.
Je refuse.
Like Tom Hanks.
Uh-huh.
Here, all my little references are old. Like Tom Hanks in Saving Private Ryan, right?
Uh-huh.
Matt Damon, I don't really like Matt Damon as much as I used to, but Matt Damon tells a whole story about the night that he and all of his brothers were called up to serve. And he talks about like, oh boy, just go home, see my brothers. This is crazy. And then he's like, what about you, Mr. Miller, Captain Miller?
Uh-huh.
And he's like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to tell you my story. It's like, okay, I mean, it's a movie. Like,
I mean,
you just want to be silent for 5 minutes.
Yeah, right.
We'll just hear the chewing of popcorn.
Right.
But the idea was, no, there you go. No, here, new reference.
Okay.
Everybody, he's got a new reference. It is also about an old man who fought in World War II. But when Sam goes, oh, I see you got a wedding ring there, old Cap. You want to tell me about that? He's like, no, I don't think I will.
Okay, better. Newer, better reference.
Right.
That I think.
When Joe Biden Cap goes, no, I don't think so.
Let's not call him Joe Biden
I'm gonna
Cap.
save. You want to hear about corn pop? I don't think so.
No, nobody wants to.
I don't think I will.
No, nobody wants.
No, there's no story that Joe Biden has ever saved back and not told.
Oh my God.
Well, we have a story to tell you. It's a story about the appreciation that we feel for the appreciation that you give us when you join our Patreon. And we have a new patron.
That's exciting.
Christopher has joined the Patreon at the Inner Senshi level. And thanks for coming aboard, Chris. We're glad to have you. And I hope you enjoy the extra content that we provide on our Patreon. Things like our anime reviews, our show Animetification, where we talk about the first episode of, oh gosh, a whole mess of animes. We're not to 50 yet, but we'll be at 50 by the time that we get done with this run, this wave.
That's true.
And maybe for 50 we choose it.
Oh,
for a treat.
We don't randomly select. We pick.
I know, that's such a big part of it. Man, this is crazy talk.
I feel like we're cheating on random.org.
Yeah, but 50 is a big deal.
50 is a big deal.
So maybe...
But how do we agree?
Oh, we fight.
We fight to the death.
Or maybe we go to the most random, the two-dimensional randomness of a coin. So you pick the one that this is it. We were doing it on the air.
Oh, okay.
You pick the one that you want to see so bad. I pick mine. We flip a coin. It's fair.
Okay. I like this idea.
Fair and impartial, as all things should. Why is Sam Elliott Thanos?
I don't, because he thinks he knows all cowboy movies. I don't know. Is Thanos a cowboy now? I don't know.
Perfectly balanced. Now more than ever. Yeah. So this was thanking Chris, right? Thanks for coming aboard, Chris.
Yes, thank you, Chris.
And if you want to join our Patreon, you can by going to patreon.com/Sailor Noob. And if that's too rich for your blood, maybe you just want to show us that you care. Buy us a coffee. You can do that at Coffee. It always looks like Ko-Fi or like Kofi, like Kofi Annan. But it's ko-fi.com where you can put a tip in the jar. It's like a tip jar. There's a link to that in our show notes if you just want to give us a one-time gift to say, hey, you're doing a good job. We really appreciate that as well.
I think of it as like they're being clever, you know.
Yeah,
they're doing a little word play.
I've done this a lot. Like, you know, when I listen, I wouldn't say I'm not a joiner. Often I join things.
Sure.
But sometimes you're just listening to like a podcast or you're enjoying the work of a creator and you go like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I really like what you're doing there.
I want them to know. I want them to know.
Yes.
And I go and I put a tip in the jar and I go, nice, this last video. I like a lot of YouTube videos. This last video.
Yes.
Nice work.
Yeah.
More, please.
More like this, please.
I want some more.
Yeah.
And speaking of video, you know, we've still got I don't think I figured out how to do it yet, but we have our new goal that we're trying to reach on our Patreon. If we reach 100 a month, we will be joining that crew ourselves.
We will.
Making video content. Mm-hmm. So I dare you. I dare you to get us there.
I double dog dare you.
Oh, that's strong. I was going to save that for like rounding 75, but she's going strong. She's going hard.
I'm throwing down now. Okay, that's go hard or go home. That's what I have to say. So,
ribbed glove thrown down. Here's what I mean by ribbed. Hold on, let me finish.
What?
Let me finish. What do you call it? The end of they have the long gloves, but then near their elbow, it's like what do you call it? It's like looks like a balloon or something.
I know what you're talking. I don't know.
I know a little bit about fashion, but not like space age 60s fashion. So
yeah, I mean it is like ribbing, but I feel like you say ribbed glove, and that sounds like some sort
by
of
Durex. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right, moving on.
Anyways. Well, maybe we should move on to our synopsis of today's episode.
I can and I will, but first I want to mention that in our opening, is this on? Is this tuned to the right channel? We're still seeing Karunite in this opening.
Yes, we are still tuned to the correct channel. Yes.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Yeah. I guess before we move on, I forgot one more thing.
What a trick.
I know. I wanted to mention that this week we celebrated the 30th anniversary of Sailor Moon. The anime officially aired on March 7th in 1992 for the first time on TV Asahi in Japan. So a huge, amazing, happy 30th anniversary to Sailor Moon. This podcast obviously wouldn't be here without Sailor Moon, but I don't know. It's definitely deeply affected my life as well. You know, it got me into anime. It started my interest in Japanese culture as well. So I'm excited and thrilled to be a part of this community, and that the fandom is going strong.
Everybody's reacting to it like, oh, I can't believe it's 30 years old. All these young people, and I'm just like, first time. I'm part of a lot of fandoms.
I know,
who are the better part of a century. You know,
I know,
have been around. So,
that's true.
No, I mean, congratulations to Sailor Moon, and that is amazing. And why don't we have a sequel series yet? Somebody get to Naoko on her yacht. Or in space when she's on the moon. We know that she's very wealthy. She doesn't have to do it. But
exactly.
Come on, give us a cursed child. Give us a adult sailor's story, a new chapter.
Yeah, I would love that. I think that would be amazing
for another 30 years.
Yes,
30 more years.
30 more years.
That's it. Start the chant.
All right, now synopsis time.
Well, we open in the mountains.
Yes.
Japanese mountains, I can only assume.
Yes.
We cut to a pair of bare feet running along a forest path, and the feet belong to Makoto, Kino, who's clothed in a karate gi.
Yes.
And she's huffing and puffing. She's trying to get somewhere or away from something. She catches her foot on a root as she runs, and she goes right to the ground. And as she lays there, she thinks, how could I lose to her? And we see a flashback to Ionder.
Yeah.
A demon that we have not seen before?
Nope. They do this sometimes.
Flashbacks flashback to something that we've seen. This is a flashback to something we haven't seen that's telling us something new. It's a news flashback.
Yes.
Here comes a news flashback. Ionder is a big, strong-looking woman with an electrical plug coming out of her head. And she's got, like, a big metal shield on her crotch. Not sure what's going on.
I mean, do you want me to talk about it now or save it?
Yeah. She's also, like, all shiny, like she's made out of plastic.
Uh-huh.
In the news flashback, we see the sailor soldiers all pile onto her, grabbing her limbs, trying to restrain her. But Ionder throws them all off. And Jupiter runs up saying, "Strength is my fort." And it's fort.
Not forte.
No.
Ah.
From the French.
Yeah.
Meaning strong.
Okay.
And it's feminine in this case. For, if it was male, fort for the feminine.
Oh, where do we get forte from?
From being wrong.
Really?
Check it out. But the thing about language is, if you just keep saying something the wrong way, it just becomes that.
That's true.
Futurama did this joke years ago with, like, everybody just says, I asked him a question. That just became the thing that everybody said.
Yep.
So anyway, strength is her fort. Actually, fort is strength. So there you go.
There you go.
She grasps Ionder's hands in an old school test of strength, and their personal energies crackle between them. But Ionder lifts Jupiter over her head. That's her move.
Yeah.
My God. And throws her to the ground. But Jupiter pops back up and throws a sparkling wide pressure, but Ionder merely bats it away. Then Usagi comes in with the moon spiral heart attack. We get a lovely, and Ionder is no more. But Jupiter's not happy. In the present, we see her pick herself up and say, "I need to become more powerful." And she runs off down the trail. Title card. Good teaser.
It is a good teaser.
Good teaser. Getting points. You're getting it right. We should start rating the teasers. Now that they're doing them. In the basement lab, Dr. Giggles is on the phone to the Witches 5, and Udial says, "I've already found our next target." And on her screen, we see that she's looking at a Nichiren Buddhist priest named Kakusue Yakushiji. She says that he's been training in the mountains for 4 years and 4 months, specific, and he has an exceptionally pure heart. And she says, "Hey, by the way, good info to have. What do the talismans look like?"
Yep.
"Yeah, Sho. What do they look like?" And Dr. G says, "If a pure heart is a talisman, it will take the form of one of the 3 sacred treasures." Okay. The mirror, the sword, and the jewel. So this whole season not playing in Korea is what you're telling me.
What?
Very, very Japanese.
Very Japanese. It's very Japanese. It's the imperial regalia.
In America, they go, "They'll take the form of the Constitution, a bald eagle, and the cherry tree." We all know this. We know this. When these treasures are brought together, the Holy Grail will appear, and we see a vision of the Holy Grail, which is the egg cup looking thing we saw way back in that opening I wasn't supposed to see that hasn't been shown on screen yet.
Correct.
In the evil microwave, we see a stern-faced doll head. I'm sure we'll talk about this later.
We will.
And it is infused with the demon egg power. We hear a voice shout, "Daruma!" And a box emerges. It's loaded into the star car, and the star car emerges from a drainage canal, leaping over a young couple as it lands on some train tracks and drives away.
Yep.
Udial probably didn't have a license. That's what I'm getting from this.
She's got a license
to kill.
Yeah.
Anyone that tries. Okay. At the Tsukino household, Usagi has gotten a postcard from Mako. It says that she's training at a temple, and the temple that she's at is close to Mamo's hotel. We did it. Celebrate good times. We proved that Mamoru lives in a hotel, which, wait a minute. Actually, I think it was a live-action show that we were trying to prove that he lives in a hotel. And anyway, I guess it turns out that Mamoru is just working at this hotel, I guess, for the summer. So cancel the party. Never mind the whole thing. Forget the party. Anyway, he has a connection to a hotel. Anyway, Usagi thinks, "Oh, I've got an excuse to see Mamo. Oh, and I can visit Mako." And hopefully not get them mixed up. Luna's like, "This is not a good idea. Bad." And a train runs right through her head as we transition to our girls riding through the countryside to see Mako. And Mamoru.
Yes.
Definitely. And they are enjoying train bentos, which we've already talked about.
Yeah.
Ekiben.
Ekiben.
And Usagi is eating hers like there's a prize at the bottom. And she's like, not traveling. And Luna and Artemis pop out of some backpacks and they're like, we're starving. Can we have some, Mina, cat lady? And Mina and Usagi both hold out shrimp tails and drop them into the cat's mouths. And the cats are like, geez. Because they wanted more than the tails?
Because
you are cats. You eat the fish bone with the head.
Yeah.
Come on, you eat trash.
But they didn't give them a whole piece of shrimp.
There's shrimp in the inside the thing. Look, if I gave my cat a
gosh.
shrimp tail, they'd go crazy. Ray says, hey, Usagi, where's Chibi? Yeah, where's Chibi?
Yeah. That's what I
Usagi
wanted.
says, as her future mother, I was able to reason with her. And we hear a voice say, you told me you were in the bathroom, but you snuck off without me.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess this, speaking of flashbacks, or maybe side flashes, this is Chibi back at home.
Yes.
We cut to her and she angrily throws her backpack down. And back on the train, a bag lands on Usagi's head.
Mm-hmm.
Weird choices for match cuts here, because I'm expecting Chibi to pop up from the seat behind her.
Yeah.
But Chibi's not with them and will not appear in the episode.
I actually, speaking of that, I one of the reference sites that documents episodes, they thought that Chibi was on the train with them because of this, and I was like,
on the train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, she wasn't on the train.
Right,
You're
but
right. It's a weird match cut.
Totally understandable. You would think that.
Yes.
They get off their transfer bus, and Usagi says, well, according to the guidebook, there should be a great hotel near here. There it is. So she has not told the girls what her plans are.
Nope.
Usagi says, let's stay there. But Ray says, we're here to help Mako train. And Usagi says, it doesn't matter where we stay. And Ami says, as long as I can study, I don't mind. Back to this.
I know.
Usagi says, okay, let's go. But Luna says, stop. Don't fall for her scheme.
Yeah.
Mamoru is working at that hotel. At this, the girls are all like, all that talk about helping and studying was all a lie. And Usagi says, no. It's more fun if we have a lot of objectives. Like an Ubisoft game. Gamerheads will get that one.
I'm sure.
And the girls say, we're going to stay at the temple. And we cut to stairs, climbing stair after stair at this temple. And I know there's some kind of implied, you need to be serious about your commitment to receiving enlightenment with all these stairs. Mm-hmm. But can we get like an elevator? Just because my legs don't work like other people's or I have a tricky heart, that means that I can't seek enlightenment. Didn't the Buddha sit still for 21 days? Don't tell me he just jumped right up after that. It was probably more like, gotta tell everybody about my enlightenment. Oh, owie, ow, pins and needles.
Yeah, don't talk about that.
Right?
Yeah.
Make temples accessible.
Well, I don't disagree with you. And there are a lot of temples like this where there are endless amounts of stairs. Yeah. Not all temples, but yeah.
Like the temple in Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Which is totally real. Up the stairs they go, and Usagi is tapped out, as all the girls are. But the cats spring lightly up the set of stairs. As they reach the top, they hear a pounding sound, and they see Makoto practicing her kicks and punches on a rope-wrapped tree. She says, what are you guys doing here? And they say, we're here to help you train. How could you leave without telling us? At that moment, up the steps comes running a bald man in a dirty gi. Mm-hmm. When he reaches the top, he leaps and flips over the assembled girls. He hits the ground on the other side and tears off. And Mako says, isn't he amazing? He runs around the mountain 50 times a day. And Usagi's like, oh, you've fallen in love with that priest, haven't you? I guess his eyebrows look like her senpai's.
I don't know.
And Mako's like, no, I'm back to training. I'm out of here. And she runs off. Later, Mako approaches the priest. He's standing under a waterfall, and she dips her toe in the water at the base of the fall. She's like, oh, it's cold, it's cold. Undeterred, she runs up to Kakusui and tries to join him, but the water is too cold. Mm-hmm. She jumps out and says, how do I become like you, master? I'm in a real slump right now. I can't give you any details, but I'm just talking. But my techniques don't work against my opponents. I need your willpower to get out of my slump. And he steps forward out of the waterfall, but he's silent. Mm-hmm. Mako says, why would you say anything? And after a pause, he says, oh, it's so cold I can't move my mouth. And he sneezes.
Yeah.
And Mako smiles at this and he says, that smile suits you. What kind of vows you got here, priest?
Well,
how's this work?
Well, it's something we'll talk about later, but I do think it's a little creepy. Don't you?
You should smile more.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
Please don't pick me up and throw me off this mountain.
Yeah.
He says, no other path makes me feel so alive, thus it is the one that I take.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite saying. I couldn't find it.
I couldn't either. I looked it up.
Frost? Robert Frost?
That's the only thing I even found remotely.
Two roads diverged in a yellow wood.
Yeah, but...
I took the road less traveled by. And that has made all the difference.
Yes.
That's how that poem ends.
Yes. I think maybe that is what it's referencing,
like
but that's the closest.
Hey, I'm a Buddhist monk. I love Robert Frost.
It's a little weird.
It could happen.
It could happen.
That Shinto guy loves E.E. Cummings. It's really strange.
But like you put this in exactly in quotes, and all that comes up
Shinto
is
master,
Sailor
give
Moon.
me your wisdom. And he's like, Buffalo Bill's defunct. English lit kids will get that one. We're just hitting every square on the bingo board today. Mako thinks about this and he says, when you choose a path, then you'll run into problems. And while you're training, you'll begin to question if you made the right choice. And Mako says, you questioned yourself too? And he's like, LOL. Yeah, like a lot.
I know.
Above the waterfall, he's a relatable Buddhist monk.
Yeah.
Above the waterfall, we see a certain white station wagon parked, and inside Udial says, I found my man.
Uh-huh.
That night, the girls are getting ready for bed, and Ray says, so why did you come here to train? But Mako demurs from the question. All the girls say that if she's got a problem, she can share it with them. And
Yeah.
Ray's like, yeah, Usagi keeps nothing to herself.
Mm-hmm.
And Usagi gets mad and throws a pillow at her. Ray throws her pillow and Usagi's back and ends up hitting Minako. Understandable. They look very similar. Minako throws a pillow and hits Ami. And you see where this is going.
Yep.
We've done it.
Mm-hmm.
We've made it into a literal pillow fight. This is some Saban Moon bullshit. Later that night, everybody didn't like that. Later that night, everybody is fast asleep except Mako, who's looking at the moon, and she thinks, everyone came here to help me, but I need to solve this on my own. Mm-hmm. Early the next morning, the birds are chirping, and the Mako is kicking. Mm-hmm. The girls drowsily see Makoto doing karate in the courtyard. And she does that, I don't know what this means, but people in Street Fighter do it. Hoya! It's a very specific move. I didn't hear any Shoryuken, but if I did, I'd understand what it was. And Ray says, I don't think we should interrupt her. So they go to have breakfast. Soup all around. Soup's on.
Yep.
But only soup. And a little rice and like sliced sweet potato or something like that.
Yeah,
and Usagi is worried about how she's going to survive the day. But Ami's happy. It'll make her brain work more efficiently. Boo! Get new material! Plus, Ray and Minako are like, this is a good diet for weight loss. This is a good opportunity for you, Usagi. Boo! Sexist! Body shaming!
I agree!
Boy, this heckler is really like socially conscious. Usagi says, I just want to eat good when I'm on a trip. And I am 100% in agreement. I will eat in a restaurant at the airport I am taking off from to go on the trip. That's how much vacation means Eatapalooza to me.
Yes, exactly.
You're like, oh, we got 2 hours until the flight leaves.
Yeah.
TGI Fridays.
I know.
Chili's too? Oh, see you right now. Luna and Artie say, it looks like Mako's already gone out. And the girls look at the cats for a second. Everybody pauses. And Usagi says, right, we're going to the hotel for breakfast.
Uh-huh.
So they do.
I know.
But before that, Ami says, what do we do with this food? We don't want to waste it. And Usagi says, I got a solution for your problem.
I
She just
know.
eats it all. Minako says, hey, check out my swimsuit. And the girls also get out their suits. And the cats are like, wow, only Ami seems to be serious about helping Mako, I guess. And we cut to Ami and she's like, this is my suit.
I loved it.
I guess that's the payoff for all the
Well,
study jokes.
Well, but I thought it was great because you don't expect it, and she does a really embarrassing cha-cha.
When you put 1 quarter in the slot machine and you get bar,
Yeah.
you get 1 quarter back.
Yeah.
That's the kind of payoff we got for that setup.
All right.
At the hotel, the girls are enjoying breakfast by the pool, or at least some drinks or something like that. And Usagi's having some kind of noodles. It's like, I don't know if these are anime noodles, but it looks like it's got like chopped up hot dogs in it.
Yeah, hot dogs or sausages or something like that.
And I'm guessing it's spicy because it's orange. The noodles are orange and her mouth is red. Mm-hmm. And she's also eating what looks like drumsticks.
They're like fried chicken drummies.
Yeah.
I think.
I guess the suckling pig is coming later.
Uh-huh.
And as she's stuffing her face, a waiter walks by, and it's Mamoru.
Yes.
And he's like, what are you guys doing here? And Usagi's like, wow, what a coincidence. That's crazy. And Rei's like, you're so obvious.
I know.
Usagi doesn't know how a job works, so she says, let's go hang out somewhere, Mamo. But he's like, yeah, I'm pretty busy.
I know.
And on cue, his boss yells at him to get moving. As he leaves, a group of youths, they're checking our girls out.
I know.
And one says, hey, those girls are pretty good looking. Let's go talk to them. And we pan over the girls in their glamour poses. This is like that Sex and the City prequel, the Carrie Diaries.
Yes.
The Usagi Diaries. There's your shirt right there.
Yes.
And as this is happening, one of them says, that girl over there is even prettier. And he's pointing to somebody across the pool. Mm-hmm. And they all run off. And Usagi's like, WTF?
Yep.
And the other girls are like, we weren't even paying attention. Whatever. The girl in question they were running to is, of course, Michiru.
Yep.
Who is sunning herself next to Haruka. Mm-hmm. Usagi sees them and runs over with the girls to say hello. Minako says, I love your suit, Michiru. And she is correct, because it is awesome.
It is awesome.
Michiru politely compliments their suits as well, but let's face it, not as good. Ami says, well, we should be getting back to do some studying.
Yeah.
But Usagi says, no, I want to stay a little longer. And Rei's like, he can't go on a date with you.
I know.
And Usagi lunges at her, but Rei steps out of the way and Usagi falls into the pool. And just before she does, she's floating in midair like Wile E. Coyote. Mm-hmm. And like, there's like 2 frames of a word balloon that says promise.
Yeah, I don't know.
Promise?
Promise of hitting the water or something?
This whole, but the whole time, like, Rei is reacting, but then she has like a stylized word balloon. And she's not saying what's in the balloon, but we get a subtitle and something like, I can't believe that she'd say that. Or like, she's, why is she doing this?
Right.
And in this case, somebody says, huh. I'm not sure who. So that's the spoken word. And then the word balloon says, promise.
I have no idea. I don't understand that. I literally don't understand that. And I think it happened so quickly, it didn't register when I was watching it.
Well, just put that on the list, I guess.
Promise
later,
what?
Promise was like a low saturated fat oil substitute, wasn't it? I think they had like, Promise was like a margarine brand when
maybe.
cholesterol was really big. I mean, I guess people still kind of worry about cholesterol, but like it got really big in like the 90s. Everybody had to know their number. We had nothing to worry about then.
No.
And so margarines, I can't believe it's not butter comes from this time. And
I
Promise
can't believe it's not butter.
Spread was like a margarine or a spread. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, you laugh at the spray. Actually, I laugh at the spray because, look, I like the spray.
You're a fan of Fabio. I understand.
Think about it. But you don't understand. You grew up in the frozen north, right?
Yeah. Last time I checked, yes.
Right. And think about like biscuits, right? There's nothing better than biscuits or even like a piece of toast or bread with room temperature creamy butter just spread on it, right?
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if it's like, it's clearly a northern versus a southern thing. I think in the South, you always got a butter dish out. I never had a butter dish out when I was growing up, and you clearly didn't either. Because whenever I try to put butter out, you put it away. And I'm like, I'm trying to warm the butter up.
I'm like, why the heck is this out? Put it in the fridge.
let science find a solution for you. I get the butter spray. But I think they've changed something in the butter spray, probably because it causes cancer. The butter spray doesn't taste as good. Now I can believe it's not butter. The butter spray isn't as good as it used to be. And so I don't use the butter spray. But like on popcorn or something like that, or like veggies, because it's not butter.
Right.
So you're going to add a little non-dairy taste to your veggies. I'm doing a commercial for...
You are.
That's our new sponsor.
Okay.
You won't believe. It's not in the butter transforms. And it's moon butter spray attack.
Oh, I actually kind of like that in a weird sort of way.
All right, well,
you can make
I need you in the room for me.
You can make it look like Usagi's pigtails or something like that.
Well, it's not crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's not get crazy. Michiru says, I sense something is going to happen. And Haruka agrees.
Yeah.
Promise? Later, Usagi is walking back to the shrine alone, and she's mad that Mamo couldn't go on a date with her.
Yeah, I don't understand why she's alone.
And as she walks, a white car that she recognizes drives by, and she breaks into a run.
Mm-hmm.
At the temple, Mako and her priest are meditating on top of rocks when she hears a snoring sound. The priest, he's asleep.
I know.
The deepest meditation.
Mm-hmm.
He wakes up and says, it's important to relax once in a while. Come on. Hey, Jack. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm saying.
No.
Well, maybe you should have trained in dodging lasers because one hits him in the chest and blows his heart crystal out.
I know.
Usagi arrives to see that, even heart crystalless, Katsui is still on his feet, even though he looks like death. He says to Mako, a person cannot live alone. Don't push yourself too hard. And he collapses. Happy to be asleep, probably. Udial arrives to collect the crystal, and Mako leaps into the bushes to transform secretly, because all of a sudden that's important again.
Yeah, I know.
Caught up in the spirit, Usagi in her own bush transforms as well. Where did these superheroes come from?
They're jumping out of bushes.
Mako lands in front of Katsui and says, Sailor Jupiter will not allow anyone to harm him. Udial laughs and says, let me ask my demon about that. Come forth. And out of the car springs Daruma. Terrifying.
Yeah.
She has little dolls on her high heels.
Yep.
And a giant brush. She spins her brush around and shoots darts out of it. Why not? Or maybe it's like hairs from the brush.
I think it's hairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Jupiter dodges out of the way. She also, this is really terrifying, but her midsection is made up of colored discs.
Yep.
And she like launches one out of herself like the Michelin Man.
I know.
And it knocks Jupiter for a loop.
Yeah. We will talk about it.
Daruma stalks towards the downed Jupiter, but we hear, hold it right there. No matter what you're plotting, a hero will never give up until you're defeated. In the name of the moon, I'll punish you. And will chastise you as Mars, Mercury, and Venus arrive. Jupiter, though, says, leave this to me. I'll defeat her by myself. And she throws a sparkling wide pressure at the demon, but Daruma spins her brush quickly and deflects the attack back towards the sailor soldiers, which blows up one of the rocks and sends the Senshi flying.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jupiter. Udial moves in to pick up the crystal, but it is snatched from her hands by Neptune and Uranus, who perch on a branch of a tree, their natural habitat. Uranus says, thanks for your hard work. This isn't a talisman. Udial jumps in her car and peels out as Uranus returns the crystal to Katsui. Jupiter gets up and says, I'll defeat her myself, as Daruma spins her brush once again and releases inky tentacles at Mako. But the sailor Senshi run in and surround Jupiter, and all 5 of them are ensnared by the black tentacles. Daruma transforms her torso and face into a doll, and she blasts the Senshi with electric eyes, shocking them.
Yep.
Usagi says, we need to combine our powers. We are 5 in 1. Like the Pearl Jam album. No, it's 5 against 1. And they ended up calling it Versus anyway.
Oh, really?
Because apparently 5 against 1 is a slang for masturbation.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
No one did.
Okay.
But the label made them change it.
All right.
We'll never forget. They did release the first wave wore that, though, and I remember seeing it in a store and thinking,
okay,
oh, I should buy this. And I didn't buy it, and it would have been worth so much now.
I kick myself with stuff like that.
Okay, Grandpa, let's get you to bed. All right. Mako remembers her sensei's words, a person cannot live alone. As the 5 sailor guardians summon a sailor planet attack, I guess. They do something. They shoot
kind of
light, and they break out of their bonds.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sailor Moon raises her scepter, but Daruma shoots it out of her hands with an Ibimu.
Yeah.
It's like, good move.
Yeah.
Jupiter runs to confront the demon, and remembering again her master's words, it's important to relax once in a while. She exhales and closes her eyes. Daruma is like, Daru?
Yeah.
But a bolt of lightning and thunder cuts the sky as Jupiter summons a huge, sparkling wide pressure. Daruma furiously spins her brush, but to no avail. She is broken apart by the attack and becomes once again a Daruma doll. On the train ride back home, both Usagi and Mako are housing their train bentos as everyone looks on in dismay.
Yep.
Mako looks out of the window and sees Katsui waving to her. I guess he ran around the mountain to see her off.
I guess. It's weird.
She waves back happily, and we end on a train going into a tunnel, which means either the makers of Sailor Moon haven't seen North by Northwest, or I'm just going to assume that she and Katsui boned.
What? Really? I'm not going to assume
The end. Train goes in tunnel.
Oh.
Cary Grant.
Okay.
Eve Marie Saint. That's what he thinks happening. What's going on?
Yeah, no,
there?
I understand what you were laying down, but
it literally cuts from a guy named Katsui waving at Jupiter, and then the train goes in the tunnel.
I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that that's what happened.
Well, headcanon's a funny thing.
All right.
Wow, I can't wait till the rating. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
This is the wrong message. This is the wrong message.
And in what way?
So the show tries to have its cake and also shove it into its face, and it's all over its face, and everybody's looking at it.
Yep.
It tries to tell a story about who is almost definitely like our most self-determined senshi. You know,
yes.
If there's somebody's going to run off on their own, or somebody's going to have a career as just killing Yoma by herself, like it's Jupiter.
I think so too. But
we also understand that after all they've been through. And they literally came back from the dead to help her defeat, Beryl. And then literally came back from the dead.
Yeah.
This is a show about how they need each other.
Yep.
And so the show entertains this impulse of hers to push herself harder than the rest of the senshi.
Yes.
And then it tries to split the difference and have it both ways at the end by having her be told by the guy who... This never comes back until we see him wave at the end. Not important, never comes back.
Yeah.
But he told her, don't give up. Also, to have friends or whatever.
Right.
Like he's just reading this off of his daily calendar or something. And so those are the lessons that help her. And so she somehow teams up and they get out of the ink tentacles in a dumb way. But then also she kills it solo. Yeah. So she was right to work so hard. It's like, which is it, show? Come on.
I agree with you. It's a little muddled, to say the least. Because
I don't think it's muddled. I think it's clear. Exactly what I just said is that they wanted to have both.
They wanted to do both.
Yeah.
That's all I meant. And I think that you're right. They should have gone one way or the other. But because this is a show about teamwork, they wanted it to be about, no, it's being part of the team. But then they also chose to have her be the one to kill the monster. So then it's like you said, that just sends a different message. And it's like I like that we see her work hard towards a goal and she does seem to get stronger. But is she stronger because she's part of a team? Did she have self-doubt because she didn't think about, we're part of a team and we need to rely on each other?
If one of the Steven Universe people runs off and does their own thing, they're going to come back on a stretcher, right? Like it's about teamwork.
Right.
And I don't think that everything has to be like that. Certainly many manga and anime aren't like that, but that's kind of in the line this whole show, right?
Absolutely.
Notice that Mako doesn't really get involved in the pillow fight.
She does, but not. She just kind of for fun when they pull out.
Mako would be that person that takes the pillow fight way too seriously. She'd be doing. Yeah. She'd be twisting. You know the twist.
I don't.
Okay, so I don't know if it's because I don't want to be sexist. I don't know if it's because you're a girl, or if you didn't have any friends that you pillow fought with. But I've been to a lot of pillow fights in my time.
I have not.
And the best move is. You grab the pillow by one end, right? Mm-hmm. And you shake it. And depending on what it's filled with, these synthetic foam ones now, no go, right? The day of the pillow fight's over. But the down, all the feathers go to the bottom, right? It's like shaking a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Then you twist the top half and you've essentially got a flail, right? You're holding onto a rope of linen with, 20 pounds of duck feathers on the other side.
Sure.
And then you go right for the head. You always go right for the head.
Oh my God.
So she would she would wind up, cut to a wall, a head bounces off the wall and leaves like blood.
Because she doesn't always know her own strength. Yeah.
She's gonna take it way too seriously.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that.
This goofy I just like the way that the guy is drawn is like, we understand. He's like some tension looking dude. Dragon Ball Z fans look at that. And like all we know about him is like he's just the caricature of wise guy who's a monk or something like that.
Yeah.
And why not make his lessons either clearer or more confusing? And here's a great example.
Yes.
That's not a good example at all. But remember the guy in Mystery Men?
I don't know how well I remember
The Mystery Men are
in
sucky
general.
superheroes.
Yeah, I know
and
that.
So they go to... Well, he has his name. He's got a dumb name. Everything in Mystery Men's kind of dumb. It's kind of on purpose. I think the people that made the movie didn't know that they were buying a comic book that's like a joke. They were just trying to make like a real comic book movie. But they go to this guy. He's like the slasher or something like that. And he's going to teach them to use their powers. And all of his advice is supposed to be like Zen koan stuff. But it's not.
Okay.
It's just garbage.
Sure.
And so he says to Hank Azaria's character, the Blue Raja, which is might be a racist thing. It's definitely an imperialist thing. Who throws cutlery? He says to him, "Learn to hide your strikes, and you'll more easily strike your opponent's hides." And he's like, "What?" But then he figures out, oh, if I throw forks while I've got my cape up like Dracula, then I will unerringly I will throw. What? We just needed a thing.
Yes.
To get to the next thing.
Yes.
So they're doing something different at the end because the hero's got to grow.
Yeah.
Because I went to film school. I took a screenwriting class.
Yes, you got it. I think so. Kakusui, I feel like he is a trope that we often see in anime of some sort of like Buddhist priest who has kind of like a sense of humor or is lighthearted about things.
Right. And
you know,
points on the swerve for him being a young man.
Yeah.
Which seems to be so Mako can be attracted to him, but that goes nowhere.
No.
And she doesn't even say like the dirty balls of his feet remind me of my senpai or something like that.
Oh my God.
Like it goes literally. So why not just make him like a goofy old man like the trope says?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't know.
He's like Suhachi, the drunken master.
Yeah.
Or actually, wait. In the drunken master is Fei Hong, the drunken master. Who's the master?
I don't know. That is a fantastic question.
Suhachi's not in
ponder.
Drunken Master 2. So the Drunken Master 2 must be Fei Hong.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Well, that's answered. Question answered. Yeah, he's like a life coach.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to talk bad about life coaches. Actually, let me talk bad about life coaches a little bit. How much does a life coach cost? Life coaches seem to be for people who can't admit that they need to talk to a therapist. Do life coaches cost
maybe
more or less than therapists?
I don't know the answer to that.
Because honestly, therapists, you don't need to have an eating disorder or have suicidal thoughts.
No, anybody can go to therapy.
Anybody can go to therapy.
And actually, I recommend
really for any reason.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, having somebody who's outside of your life and doesn't know you're a superhero.
Right.
Although if they don't have all the context, they might not be able to help you as effectively. So yeah, like I don't know how much a life coach / a psychiatrist or a therapist costs, but like just go to a therapist.
I mean, at least a therapist, caveat, if you have insurance, is going to be covered by
I don't
insurance.
think a life coach is going to be covered, period.
No. So
anyway,
I don't know.
how if Mako's paying this guy in rice gruel or what, but
I don't know. I don't
actually,
know.
she has to. We never see her polishing the floors, doing the running thing, and that's what she should be doing.
That is exactly what she should be doing. Yeah, I agree.
Here's something for you.
Yes.
Isn't this kind of a stealth beach episode?
This is a beach episode, and I actually looked up the beach episode trope, and it is listed as a beach / pool episode.
Yeah.
So that's what this is, except they were like, well, they really didn't seem to like the last beach episode, so how can we make this slightly more interesting? We'll
Mako
kind of
doing
put
karate.
Yeah, right.
Let me fix this for them.
Okay, please.
Mamoru has like 2 lines in this.
I know.
And they go home on the train. I guess, I mean, he can't go home. He's working the job still.
Yeah.
But they don't even, like, a man who we will never see again sees them off in a way.
Yeah.
And we don't see Mamo at all.
Mm-hmm.
Why not focus on Mamo?
Sure.
He is working at a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Think of the ripe comedic premises we can get out of this, right? Jerry Lewis's The Bellhop alone, right? Not to mention moving it to like a Some Like It Hot scenario or 4 Rooms, right?
Sure.
Think of all the goofy, wacky things trouble that Mamo could get in. And then Udial checks into the hotel.
Sure.
And he's like, maybe he can't, they all have propagnosia. They can't recognize faces, but he knows something's weird about this person.
Yeah.
And then she's got a big case that she brings up to her room, right? With a star on it. And so he's like trying to track that, but then like Usagi's not even like the main focus of the episode. She keeps showing up. She's like, go on a date. And he's like, I'm going on a date right now. I'm undercover, but I got to get these drinks to table 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And no, not that. We're just doing this instead.
I know. I mean, so I do think that there were some good comedic bits in this, but I just overall,
Really?
it's...
Which ones? Promise?
No, not that one. That one I completely missed. But yeah, it's not great. I did like that, like how Rei was the one who asked Mako she brings up, so why did you decide to do this? And she says to her, let me know if something is bothering you. And to me, I feel like this is a callback to Mako saying something similar to Rei back in episode 99 when she's trying to concentrate more on the horrible visions that she has seen.
Which we've kind of dropped.
Yeah. We haven't really been tracking
really
that.
No.
But I feel like that's kind of a flip of that. So I think that's a nice moment. But yeah, I know it's
Rei Nako.
Yeah.
No, Rei Koto.
Rei Koto.
Rei
Koto. That's not bad.
So I'm going to work on this scenario for the 4-room situation. I can already envision, Mamoru finds a dead sex worker, under the mattress. And then there's like a whole thing with that. And he's got to run over and like, oh, no, I'm going to sit on the bed. Oh, why are you sitting on the bed? You're supposed to be turning the bed down. It's like, oh, well, the feet are tired. The feet are really tired.
This is like Sailor Moon. Nights.
Directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Oh my God, no.
How would you describe Just Enough Trope? We are the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
Oh no, does this mean they can hear all the things I yell at the TV during Downton Abbey?
Why did you do that?
How do you plead?
Let the game begin. Yeah, check these fresh moves. Oh!
Don't shoot man in face.
This isn't the Save Gotham fundraiser.
It's the Chill Family Reunion.
Master Yoda assigned a Padawan to this bold Jedi.
I think it's pronounced Padawan.
Oh, Padawan, excuse me.
Hey, it's getting late. I think Ralph's going to want his motorcycle back.
Go jerk off the pictures of Jean Grey.
I am freaking getting old.
Yeah, I noticed the life clock was blinking in your hand.
Get out of here, Wilson. Go fight the Teen Titans or something.
I'm unkillable, not unwoundable.
You like Sailor Moon, right? Why don't you sail on his
Wow.
Just Enough Trope. News, reviews, and geek fondue every Monday on the Just Enough Trope podcast network.
Loving me never have a say. You so be sorry.
What?
Today for Kyoro Kyoromu, or Curiously Looking Around, where we talk about elements of Japanese culture within the episode, we're going to talk about Buddhist priests and monks in Japan.
Neat.
So Buddhism has been practiced in Japan since about the 6th century CE. Japanese Buddhism, or Nihon Bukkyo, has given birth to a lot of different Buddhist schools and sects, many of which trace back to Chinese Buddhist traditions.
I joined this tradition for the sex.
Okay. All right. I'll allow it.
Now I'll be quiet.
early Japanese Buddhism is strongly influenced by Chinese and Korean Buddhism. That's not really that surprising. The Nihon Shoki provides a date of 552 for when King Song of Paekje, now the western part of South Korea, sent a mission to Emperor Kinmei that included an image of the Buddha Shakyamuni.
Shakyamuni.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry,
All right, it's okay.
Peter Gabriel heads will get that.
All right. As well as ritual banners and sutras. Should I pause? This is typically considered the official introduction of Buddhism in Japan. According to the Nihon Shoki, after receiving the Buddhist gifts, the Japanese emperor asked his officials if the Buddha should be worshipped in Japan. And they were divided, with Soga no Iname, the leader of the Soga clan, supporting the idea, while Mononobe no Okoshi, leader of the Mononobe clan, and Nakatomi no Kamako, leader of the Nakatomi clan, worried that the kami of Japan would become angry at the worship of a foreign deity.
Guys, they're not going to like this.
So the Nihon Shoki then says that the emperor allowed only the Soga clan to worship the Buddha to test it out. Well,
for a treat. Little Buddha worship.
So, there's a lot of information on this. You can really dive into a lot, but the Soga clan became incredibly influential with the spread of Buddhism, and they were very, very powerful politically. So today there are around 60 different Buddhist sects within Japan that are affiliated with the Japan Buddhist Federation, and still more that are unaffiliated. So needless to say, we will not be covering all of them. This is just a brief summary of information that's out there. The specific routines of monks depend on the particular form of Buddhism practiced at their monastery, and even within the monastery, routines differ. Monasteries are headed by a zasu, or head priest, who is aided by several senior monks. And before officially being ordained and allowed to enter the training monastery, monks first go through a period of pre-training. It's kind of, I think of it like as a screening process, almost. Like, are you really meant to become a monk?
How do you feel about waterfalls?
Yeah, right.
If you would rate waterfalls 1, strongly dislike, or 10, strongly like.
Right. In order for a monk to become a temple priest, they need to complete 3 years of training. And in order to become a trainer of new monks, they have to complete the temple's full curriculum, which can take up to 12 years.
Woo.
No matter what the sect, Buddhist monks all meditate. And meditation takes many different forms, and it often is a form of sitting and not thinking. And in Zen, this is called zazen. And Zen Buddhism meditation also sometimes includes a koan, which you mentioned earlier, which is kind of a paradoxical riddle, such as, what is the sound of one hand clapping? That is the Zen koan.
It's so funny that villain that was named Koan, because out of all the sisters, she seems like the person who could least answer that question.
Yeah, she seems
I'm not saying that she's not smart, but she's got kitty ears.
She's not smart. I think she comes across as being impatient.
Shallow.
So, well, okay.
Shallow.
Yeah,
the whole point of the koan is it's deep.
Well, that's true. That is true. Well, maybe she could sit with it and would get deeper. But yeah, it is kind of interesting. A meditation session is frequently determined by the time it takes to burn a single incense stick, which is around 30 to 40 minutes.
Oh.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
Time's up.
Yeah. Yurio mentions that Kakusui is a Nichiren Buddhist priest. So Nichiren Buddhism is a branch of Mahayana Buddhism, which originated in India and is based on the teachings of the 13th century Japanese Buddhist priest Nichiren. Its teachings come from around 300 to 400 letters and other writings either authored by or attributed to Nichiren. He was a very prolific writer. Nichiren declared that the Lotus Sutra contains the highest truth of Buddhist teachings and insisted that the emperor and the Japanese people should support only this form of Buddhism and eradicate all others.
I'm pretty enlightened. Let's kill them all.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. He advocated that the repeated recitation of the title Namu Myoho Renge Kyo as the only path to Buddhahood. The Lotus Sutra is one of the most influential Buddhist Mahayana sutras. Not only is it the main scripture on which the Nichiren school was established, but also the schools of Tiantai Tendai and Chiontai, and is also influential for other East Asian Buddhist schools such as Zen. The two most influential central teachings of this sutra is the doctrine of the one vehicle, or sometimes also translated as one path, which says that all Buddhist paths and practices lead to the Buddhahood, and so they are all skillful means or upaya of reaching Buddhahood.
Not that one guy, though.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, it's just one thing.
Just this one thing.
Just this thing.
I know.
We're understanding.
Yeah, it's supposed to be that, like, you know, like anybody has the ability to become a Buddha.
Hey.
Yeah.
You're not surprising me that religions can be exclusionary.
Yeah. Just surprise, Buddhism can be exclusionary too.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. The second teaching from the Lotus Sutra that is the most influential is the idea that the lifespan of the Buddha is immeasurable and that he didn't really pass on into final nirvana. He only appeared to, and he is still actively teaching the Dharma somewhere.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
So this is like their Aryan heresy or their great schism.
Okay. Tell me more.
Interesting. Oh, well, no, I won't. Well, I mean, I could. I don't want to.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, like, there's, Christianity isn't a monolith. Far from it.
I know that. Yeah.
And there's a lot of divisions, and some of the early divisions in Christianity were over the divinity of Christ. Mm-hmm. I believe the Arians believed that he was, now I am going back a ways. Anyway, the point is that some Christian groups believed that Christ was both fully God and fully man.
Sure.
Some thought that he was a man, but he was like inspired with the Spirit of God. Tell me what the difference is. I don't know. And like
semantics.
Things got hairy. And one of the reasons that the church has succeeded, the Christian church has succeeded, is because they locked that down fast. Mm-hmm. There was the powers that be approved, excommunicated people. Didn't really have that term back then. In some cases, killed people.
Sure.
And then they had these big councils, like the Council of Nicaea and the Council of Trent, mm-hmm. Where they said, no, okay, going forward, everybody, here's the errata. Mm-hmm. Everybody update your rules. It's this from now on, mm-hmm. And I mean, of course, you've got like the Western Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox. That's more of a political divide. Russian Orthodox, and so you've got all these kind of similar schisms, in Christianity. But it's interesting that they're like, no, the Buddha, no, he's not in nirvana. He's like still here. Mm-hmm. I saw him walking the road the other day.
Right.
I should mention too, obviously, the Shiite and Sunni. We should not leave Eastern religions and their divisions out of this as well.
Of course
there's
not.
a huge early schism in Islam as well.
Right. And I guess spoiler. So maybe I don't know why I was ruminating about that before, but the way that this character is presented as this Nichiren Buddhist priest who also practices martial arts, as far as I could find, that's not really a reality. But there are some real world influences that I think were pulled for inspiration from this. One thing I wanted to talk about.
So they don't do karate?
Not that I could tell. No, like I couldn't find a sect, and I don't know.
We don't see him do karate. We only see Mako
that's
do
true,
karate.
but it's kind of assumed. But as far as I could find, there isn't. I was like Buddhism sect martial arts, and there's some things. There's like a martial art Buddhist boxing thing, but yeah. So here are some other things that I found.
Buddhist boxing, I love it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make my fist one with your face. Is this like more like? Are they getting their chocolate and their peanut butter? Is this like?
I think so.
Like when you
Yes.
see like,
Actually, yes.
Here we are in China. Look out, ninjas! It's like no, no.
I mean, it's kind of like
a Shaolin monks.
Yeah. But there are a couple of other like real life things in Japan that I wanted to talk about as well.
Sure.
So, Sōhei, or monk soldiers or warrior monks, were Buddhist warrior monks of both medieval and feudal Japan. And at certain points throughout history, they held considerable power and obliging the imperial and military governments to collaborate. The prominence of the Sōhei rose in parallel with the ascendancy of the Tendai school's influence between the 10th and 17th centuries. And the warriors protected land and intimidated rival schools of Buddhism. That's great. Becoming a significant factor in the spread of Buddhism and the development of different schools during the Kamakura period.
Hey, I noticed you weren't being one with everything there. Seems like your spirit and your body are out of alignment.
No.
I'm gonna knock them back in for
I
you.
know.
Get out of here.
Warrior monks first appeared during the Heian period, when bitter political feuds began between different temples and different subsects of Buddhism largely over imperial appointments to top temple positions. We don't like the guy you put in charge.
Well, the top temple guy decides where the money goes, right?
Well,
From the
that's
collection
true.
box. Yeah.
That is absolutely true. The first armed conflict broke out in 949 when 56 monks from Todaiji staged a protest at the residence of a Kyoto official over an appointment that displeased them.
Okay.
Protests of this sort continued throughout the 10th century, frequently breaking out into brawls, and sometimes participants were killed. So they call them brawls. I mean, this is not like a war, but sometimes people were killed.
What is the sound of one hand snapping?
Oh my God, no! Oh, that's horrible.
on the flute. It makes sense to it, I guess. Like we forget, in the day and age where you go to McDonald's and you get a large fry and a Coke or whatever, how much farming everybody had to do back then. And so it's not too surprising that, once they take, regular people can't have swords and metal is scarce in the first place. It's not too surprising. But it is significant that so many ancient weapons, especially in Japan, were originally instruments of farming, nunchucks were to beat, rice out of things, you know what I mean? And, and the kama, is a sickle, right?
Yes.
That's, it's for cutting cereal grains and stuff like that.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, like a lot of these things are just like, oh, boy, I hate how hard the boss is working me.
Yep, that is absolutely true. And I did not even think about that. That's interesting. I didn't know nunchucks were a farming tool originally.
Nunchaku?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what about meditating under a waterfall?
What about?
This is actually a reference to the yamabushi. En-no Ozuno was a Japanese ascetic and mystic. Traditionally, he is believed to be the founder of Shugendō, the path of ascetic training practiced by the yamabushi. So Shugendō is a syncretic religion that incorporates aspects of esoteric Buddhism, especially the Shingo Mikyo and the Tendai sect, Shinto, Taoism, and traditional Japanese shamanism. So just to reiterate, this is not Buddhism. This is a religion that is a conglomeration of several different religions.
Yeah, but, how hard are we going to go on that?
I know.
Many religions are.
That's true. Yamabushi means one who prostrates themselves on the mountain.
Huh.
And they are Japanese mountain ascetic hermits. The 3 sacred mountains known as the Dewa Sanzen are located in the ancient province of Dewa, which is modern-day Yamagata Prefecture. The peaks of Haguro, Gasan, and Yudono mountains represent the journey of rebirth and have been sought out by religious pilgrims, travelers, and wanderers for over 1,500 years, and they continue to be to this day.
These are the original mountain monks.
Yeah. Yamabushi practices are rooted in nature and frequently are ascetic practices of self-denial. The practices that the Yamabushi are known for are long, arduous mountain treks, meditation under freezing waterfalls, this is where they got it from, and jumping over fire. So I've seen a video,
there
and
we go.
Modern day, it's like a small little fire, but it is not, it is still a fire. So these rituals formed from the belief that by forgoing the world's pleasures, isolating oneself from society, and focusing on a connection with nature, that one can leave the worldly self and reach enlightenment. So it's,
and jumping over fire.
And jumping over fire. And meditating in freezing waterfalls. So before the Meiji Restoration, Shinto and Buddhism were an amalgamation in what was called Shinbutsu-shūgō. And in many ways, they have kind of come back together. However, when the emperor came back into power in the Meiji period, Shinto was separated from Buddhism. Something important to keep in mind is that the emperor of Japan is believed to be a descendant of the kami, or Shinto gods.
Right.
And the shogunate, however, favored Buddhism. So I'm back in power now. No more Buddhism, or it's not the official, religion of Japan, sort of thing.
Really cleaning house.
Seriously. And the separation.
Make a Tom Cruise movie about that.
I know. I'm waiting, Martin Scorsese. Anyways, seriously. The separation eventually led to sometimes violent cleansing of Buddhism, also known as Haibutsu Kishaku. And during this time, temples were destroyed and Buddhist monks were frequently forced to practice Shinto and become Shinto monks.
No, meditate this way.
Yeah.
You're meditating wrong. Don't let me catch you doing that again.
And we're often treated really.
Get out of that waterfall.
Well, okay.
The sign: no sitting in the waterfall.
No waterfall for you. In 1872, the Meiji government further decreed that Buddhist monks should be free to eat meat, drink alcohol, and marry by issuing the Nikujiku Saito law. Oh. And the government viewed this as a way to debilitate Buddhist institutions.
This is insidious.
It is.
Because they're not like doing violence or saying that, you'll be shot in the street, but they're like, steak looks pretty good, huh?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Why not have a cold one after work?
Right. So this didn't prove to have the desired effect, and instead led to the practice of temple families, where the management of temples and monasteries is handed down from fathers to sons.
So they just incorporated it.
Yes.
So talk about syncretism.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, I can get married now? Okay. So now
more little Buddhists.
Yeah. And now I need to have a son so I can pass this down, because apparently you can't pass it down to a daughter.
Well, all right. We're asking a lot out of this.
I know. So some monks chose to remain celibate. However, today around 90% of Japanese Buddhist monks get married. And I should say that this is something that differentiates Japanese Buddhism from Buddhism that's largely celebrated throughout practiced throughout the world. I don't know about everywhere, but it's kind of a big deal that they do get married so much, and that they can drink alcohol and they can have meat if they want to.
Japanese Buddhism is to regular Buddhism as the British Church is to Roman Catholicism.
Okay.
Because, vicars can, get married, stuff like that.
Okay. Yes. Yes, exactly.
And drink.
Right. Yes. Itadakimasu with Usagi. What did Usagi eat in this episode? So much food. On the train to and from the temple, of course, they're enjoying their ekiben, which we talked about. It's their their train station bento. And eki, of course, means train station, and ben is a shortening form of bento. So.
Yeah.
Usagi, of course, gets upset at the modest-looking breakfast that she's served at the temple, and this is what I wanted to talk about, actually. Yeah. This is what is known as Shojin Ryori, and it is the kind of cooking frequently practiced by Buddhist monks in Japan. Shojin Ryori came over to Japan from China and Korea, and while most cultures that have this practice use the term for vegetarian in their language, the Japanese gave this type of cooking a more unique name. Shojin can be translated as devotion, and Ryori means cooking or cuisine. So this name was given as a sign of respect to the doctrines of Buddhism.
Huh.
And the preparation of Shojin Ryori is viewed as an essential part of Buddhist training, and it's one of the tasks that monks will be assigned to do throughout their day. And so, if you are a monk at a monastery, everybody learns how to prepare the food.
Okay.
And the senshi's breakfast, from what I can tell, is rice, some kind of soup with tofu. It's possibly miso soup, a single umeboshi or pickled plum, and some sort of root vegetable. I'm not 100% sure what it is exactly, and then of course later at the hotel, we already talked about Usagi's large plate full of spaghetti and sausage and.
Oh, it was Western food.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is perfect because it's just it's a big plate of spaghetti. Mm-hmm. And then but the Japanese people don't, first of all, they don't know. Second of all, if they've been to a Italian restaurant in Tokyo, God knows what's being served there. So she's just having it's got a big plate of spaghetti.
That's what I think it is.
I love it.
And then chicken drummies and also a melon soda. And it looked like Ami had her favorite sandwiches, and Minako has pizza, and Rei has some sort of fried rice or something. And maybe Minako has a parfait with strawberry ice cream and bananas, because you gotta do that.
Breakfast.
Right. Breakfast of champions. Feel engaged, we rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. We have 2 daemon on this episode.
We do.
So that means...
That's so crazy.
I know.
It happens so infrequently.
Rarely. Ayanda, she most likely is a combination, her name, of the home appliance of a clothes iron.
Yeah. That's what her crotch is.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. And a reference...
He says that's a normal thing to say.
I know. This is what I learned from Sailor Moon. This is normal. And a reference perhaps also to the expression pumping iron, but I don't know if that translates. And the da part of her name is most likely a reference to the Japanese copula da des, with the vowel sound being elongated.
Okay.
It's what comes at the end of the sentence.
Yeah.
So her design, of course, she's got red skin and pointy ears, and she's very muscular. And as you said, her skin is very shiny, like plastic. That makes sense. She's an iron, so the rest of her body is plastic. Besides her metal bikini bottom front. It's so strange. And she's wearing a purple halter top and bikini bottom. And then on her shoulders are from what I can tell, the valves for steam to escape.
Yeah.
And her black flat top hair is the end of an electrical plug, which I think is really cool too. And she also has purple wristbands and purple lipstick. And her purple high heels are shaped kind of like old-timey irons. They're very blocky with large handles on the tops of the shoes.
Yes.
So now we're up to our rating. I do like her overall design. I think that there were some clever elements, especially her electrical plug hair and the steam valves on her shoulders.
Right.
And she's obviously really tough because Jupiter isn't really a match for her. And that, of course, sets everything off. But we don't see her for very long. But I'm going to still give her 3 out of 5 dark stars.
There's no way I can give Yoma that we only see in flashback a 4, right?
Yeah, that's kind of...
I can't. But you explaining all those things, especially the thing with the name and like just cracking it wide open. Oh, she's an iron.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I kind of wish that she was the main Yoma.
Like the vacuum Yoma. It's like, oh, it's kind of fun.
Yeah. That works so well.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see them put an iron in the microwave and then, it comes out. But I mean, like, let's say like rock solid 3.
Okay.
Just like straight. I always get weirded out by the Yoma that we don't see. You know what I mean? The London Yoma or like mysterious Yoma who is just killed in the first 3 seconds of an episode.
Doesn't get a name.
Yeah, they always feel like the lost like Yoma to me. But as far as like this demon and the solid design, this is how you do it. Like you go, well, we need to get it across immediately. Like if she's going to be called Gunboo and she's just like shaped like a gun and she just shoots like screaming bullets at it's like, okay, we get it. Like that's what she is, right?
Don't give them ideas.
Yeah, I was going to say they put a gun in the microwave.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, like just solid design, a little bit of help from you. The idea gets across. Also, like I love that she's pumping iron. So she's like a big, a flat top, like Bridget Nielsen or something like that. So yeah. Just rock solid 3 with eyes on 4.
All right, sounds good. And we do have a farewell, my lovely, for her.
I know.
But I gotta say, we don't really see a whole lot. She gives a twisted, lovely, but that's all we get, and it's kind of too quick for me and not very dramatic enough. So I'm gonna have to give this one a 1, even though it's like cool. We get one.
How ratings work?
Yeah. Well,
I'm giving her a 3.
Okay.
Same principle.
That's fine.
Again, if a bunch of steam had come out, maybe it did. No, I don't think so. I think she just hit
that would have been cool.
If it had been something that was like germane to her idiom, it would have been even better. But remember, short amount of time to judge her. And then how does she go out? And she goes out as solid as her short performance is. So I think the FML has to match her rating, which is a 3.
Okay. That's completely fair.
Yeah.
Moving on to our second daimon.
Yes.
Daruma, her name is a reference to the traditional Japanese daruma or dharma doll. A daruma doll is a hollow round Japanese traditional doll modeled after Bodhidharma, the founder of the Zen tradition of Buddhism. So these dolls, though they are typically red and depicting a bearded man or Bodhidharma, vary greatly in color and design, and often depending on the region and the artist, although they are usually red. Though considered a toy by some, Daruma has a design that is rich in symbolism and is typically thought of more as a talisman of good luck. More specifically, Daruma dolls are seen as a symbol of perseverance and good luck, which makes them a popular gift of encouragement in Japan.
Huh.
The doll has also been commercialized by many Buddhist temples to use alongside the setting of goals.
Well, yeah.
Of course. When purchasing, the figure's eyes are both blank white. A user will then select a goal or wish and paint in the left eye with ink. once the desired goal is achieved, the right eye is filled in.
Ah.
So that's why she has the brush
So, okay. So you paint in the left eye
first.
and you are chasing waterfalls. So TLC is the secret word for this episode.
Wow!
Don't go sitting under waterfalls.
Didn't she have black lines underneath her eyes too?
Get you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there we go.
Yes.
Okay, it all works out. Oh my gosh.
People listen to this. Can you believe it?
I know. So Daruma's her design. She is wearing a mostly red bodysuit that has black sleeves, and she also has red fingerless gloves. And her palms are rounded, mimicking the Daruma doll shape. She also has large pointy ears, and the whites of her eyes are yellow for some reason. She's also wearing a red hood, which is also a reference to the Daruma doll.
Yeah.
And disturbingly, she has red knee pads that have angry Daruma doll faces on them.
Yes.
That is the most disturbing part of her design, in my opinion. But she also has red high heels that have small Daruma dolls on them. So yeah, they went a little overboard, I think, on the design on this a little bit. She carries a large paintbrush that has ink on the end of it. Again, we talked about what that is a reference to. And the middle part of her bodysuit are rings of 4 different colors: yellow, blue, pink, and green. We later see her pop out the blue section out of herself to use as a weapon against Jupiter. So this is a reference to Daruma Otoshi, which is a traditional game played with a Daruma doll in 5 pieces, usually in colors of the rainbow. From top to bottom, they are. So this is a different Daruma doll thing that's a toy.
Oh my God.
Okay? So there's the head, that's usually a man's face. Then there is a blue disc, a green disc, a yellow disc, and a red disc. And the game is played using a small wooden mallet to hit each of the colored pieces from the bottom to the top without letting the pieces fall during the game. So that's
like
what
Jenga.
Yeah. So now we're up to our rating. So yeah, there are definitely some clever things about her design. I especially like the paintbrush and the reference to the Daruma Otoshi game. I feel like again, just the knee pads, it's just too much. And possibly also the Daruma dolls like on her shoes. Like if you're growing up in Japan, you know it's a Daruma doll going into the oven. You know what she's supposed to be.
Yeah. I looked at the page for the, I don't know, I got lost. I looked at the page for Sailor Moon dub.
Yeah.
Which is just, it's a mess compared to Sailor Moon wiki. But yeah, their summary was like, we see a strange doll go into the thing with a weird face.
They don't look into it
They don't care at all.
No.
Yeah, keep listening to this show, everybody.
Right, exactly. I also like that she flies out of the car in like a meditating position. Like she's like cross-legged and she has like her hands are like positioned in a specific way. So, and she seems like super excited to be there for some reason. She's pretty strong. She knocks the wind out of all the senshi. And I agree with you. It was incredibly creepy when she puffs her face up. I know why they did it, but it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah, eye lightning beams, is that part of the legend?
Yeah, I don't think so. We wanted lightning because she's going up against Jupiter. I don't know. Yeah. I don't feel super strongly about her overall, but so I'm going to give her 3 out of 5 dark stars.
I feel bad giving her a 3 out of 5 because, like you explained, there's a lot of background to this. Yeah. This is one of those where I feel like they didn't feel confident because they had to just stick little dolls all over everything. It's like, we get it, she's a doll. And like you said, they're not thinking, when they make this, they're not, I mean, obviously,
later
from a long perspective, they're thinking it's going to go overseas. But when they make it, they wouldn't make a thing about a sect of Buddhism nobody's ever heard of if they cared about that. So they know that kids are going to go, oh, Daruma. They're going to know exactly what it is.
Yes.
But they just, they chickened out.
Yeah.
And it's just a lack of confidence. Did you get I got like Okami vibes from it? You know the video
Oh,
game
really?
Okami?
Yeah.
I wish that she had done a little more with her paintbrush, like painted
I had not even thought about
painted
that.
a cage around the senshi, and then they're like, "Oh, we're in jail," or,
That would
like,
have been really cool, actually.
Yeah.
I would have given her a much higher rating if they had done that.
But instead, she's just got this big prop, and she just spins it. So,
Yeah.
fine outing, not great. 3.
And no Lovely from
No.
Daruma, as Jupiter was the one to defeat
A
her.
solo kill.
I know. So we don't see many of those. Our rating. So I like that Mako is working really hard to improve her fighting technique, and she's really determined, and by the end she seems more confident. I love that Usagi is upset about the breakfasts that they're served, but once they decide to go to the hotel, she will of course eat the original breakfast first, as long as there's the promise of more food around the corner. Yeah, exactly. I also like the reveal about Ami, even though, like you said, maybe it wasn't the greatest payoff, but a lot of comedic bits in this episode, but I missed Chibiusa, and I wish that there was more of Mako's arc throughout. And I just didn't feel like this was a very strong overarching story for this episode. And it, like we said, it's a beach episode, except it takes place at a pool. So, it's not very strong. I'm going to give it a 2. So
It stole my thunder, because I'm going to give it a 2 as well.
Oh,
I was thinking 3. I was on the 3 track for a while,
was
but then we
too.
talked it out, and I was like, no, this is a 2. I don't like that they snuck a beach episode in on
I
me.
know.
I have no idea what's going on with the. Not that, like, even if they tried to say, you know what, sometimes you got to go on your own. I don't know if I agree, but that would have been clear. Their moral is not clear.
No, it's not.
Plus, I pick sometimes that, like, the show is, and I think the show deserves it when it fails, because it's so good usually at
Yes.
timing the jokes and making the scenes clear and make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I just don't, with the thing with Chibi, and I don't know what's
agree.
going on half the time. And you're like, I think that was supposed to be a bit, but it just sort of
Promise?
falls flat. Yeah, promise. So I just like, we got to punish it,
Yeah.
You got to punish it for that.
Yes.
Go sit under a waterfall. Chastise yourself, episode. You're getting a 2.
Yeah, exactly. My English title for this episode is Mako Power Up. Groove Back? Yes.
Oh, boy. Wow.
I apologize. It's a bit of a mess, like this episode.
Yeah, a messy title for a messy episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. My title is Throw Mako from the Train.
Oh, no, don't do that.
And train has a double meaning.
It does?
She's training.
Oh.
Wow. This is what we're dealing with.
Okay, sorry.
Wow.
Sorry, I'm tired. Obviously, I need more coffee.
Although, if you don't like that one, and if this monk really is Mako's romantic interest, he spends all this time under a cold waterfall. How about Shrunken Master?
Oh, my God.
I think that's, let's go with that one.
Okay.
Let's go with that one.
It's a groaner. All right.
A groaner, not a shoner.
No! Next episode, we are talking about episode number 106. Unmei no Kizuna. Uranasu no Toihi in Japanese. The Bond of Destiny. Uranus's Distant Past. The English translation. And the English title, Related by Destiny.
Okay, terrible title, but
Yeah.
interesting suggestions here of something. We're going to find out some stuff.
Uh-huh.
Find out where she got that car.
Well, she has a license from overseas.
That incredible car, which, by the way, I forgot to mention this before, but I saw a news item the other day.
Yeah.
I saw a story that a Toyota 2000 GT, like the one that she has in the show, sold at auction for $2.5 million.
Oh, my God.
Now, this is not the same as the Bond car that she drives, because she has a convertible.
She's got
Remember,
two
they only
cars.
made 2 special convertible ones for the movie specifically. Elon Musk, somebody's got that in a bunker somewhere.
Yeah.
This was a production car that was then modified by specifically by Carroll Shelby,
Okay.
who was an automotive designer and Racing Driver.
Okay.
And so, and so it's like a tuned up special version
Wow.
of the 2000 GT, and it sold for $2.5 million.
That's so much money.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I
I
think
can't
that's-
even process it.
So looking forward to that. We look forward to meeting you in the digital space.
That's right.
Leave your meat behind and join us.
So weird.
What? And join us. We're playing a lot of Cyberpunk. And join us
my
on
God.
the internet, social media at noob_sailor or Sailor Noob. Either one of those, you'll find us.
Mm-hmm.
And join us on Discord to talk about Sailor Noob, anime, all kinds of nerdy stuff, movies, TV. I'm looking for anybody who wants to talk about the Batman. Bring it on. And you can do all that on our Discord. Link in the show notes. Check that out. And looking forward to hearing from you.
Well, that's our show for this week, and the Name of the Moon will be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
Promise.